So when I left India, fantastic. Happy day, happy day, happy day. Namaste to ladies and gentlemen across the globe. India, Malaysia, Singapore, South Africa, Europe, and Australia. Welcome, welcome to 10 News, David on Air. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to a idea that we are going to do for the next 5 to 6 weeks on this idea of us moving across from spiritual, religion, non-spiritual, self-development. We're encompassing all of these areas into what I call the sambar of development. Now, you're going to find different speakers over the next couple of weeks coming through to kickstart this whole process. That I am going to talk about is Dr. Alka. I have Dr. Alka with me, and what we're going to do is for the first session, introduce you to following Easter and following the birth of Lord Rama, we are embodying into ourselves the Dharma that continues to guide us into the modern challenges that we're encountering. And I'm going to talk about areas in which this spiritual crossroads between Easter, Hinduism, Christianity, Hinduism, and the Islam faith over the number of years, and bringing in challenges of individuals to see how the spiritual aspect of it are not looked at, and what we as individuals are exploring in thoughts, actions, and divine connections. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Alka, who is a practicing seasoned doctor in excess of 30 years in the city of Mumbai, India. A speaker, an NLP practitioner, yoga meditation guru, and an author of 3 books. Founder of a reputable clinic, Hope Care Center. And she's also the founder of the Senior Citizens Club in Mumbai. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Alka Chadha.
Thank you, David, for having me. It's an honor and it's a privilege for me to be here with you on this beautiful platform. And you're one person I just love having conversations, heart to heart conversations with you. Well, I don't think that I have found any person in this world today with whom I can share the deepest deep dives into my heart with the person like you. So I'm very grateful to you for having me here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Dr. Alka. Now, Alka, we do this every morning at about 5:15. That's the morning rituals. And we're going to talk about that too, how that can encompass our lives and our thought process. Now, to kickstart this whole process, let us look at what does understanding inner newness mean? Alka, if we're talking about an aspect such as this, does it really mean we are looking through the lens of the Gita to see how we ourselves are now unfolding certain elements of our daily routines, etc.? Can you just elaborate on that, please?
See, the Gita and the science are totally interconnected. Gita is actually nothing but scientific knowledge. Now, what science tells us is every single day our skin is exfoliating, the dead cells are being removed, the new cells are being formed. Look at the organs in our body, look at the esophagus, you look at the kidney, look at the heart, and look at the brain. The brain's cells are changing every single minute. Whatever we are speaking, whatever we are talking, whatever we are thinking is getting recorded into our subconscious mind. And also the brain cells, the synapses, the neural connections are being connected, disconnected, more of them are being formed. And these changes are happening every single day, every single moment. A river which is flowing is never having the same water again and again. They always say you never dip into the same water again because the water is renewing. So renewing and moving and movement is a part of life. And that's what even the Gita says. You cannot stand in a one place at a given time, at any given time, and you cannot wait and not be progressive in life. So the Gita always says action with purpose, then purpose comes. And David is the purpose man here, and he's the one who is always propagating purpose, and I so much agree to that. We are always talking about whatever we are doing in our life. If we are not doing it with purpose, not doing it purposefully, then where are we going? The newness is about moving forward every day, becoming the best version of yourself, because already we are becoming that. Only the mind is not changing. If we keep the mind changing and we keep on moving forward, then the newness will keep on coming into our lives. Thank you so much, David. Over to you.
Excellent, excellent. When we talk about this internal newness, the birth of Lord Rama, how does this symbolize the idea of inner renewal for the human being out here?
So they always say that the God descends on the earth whenever there is too much of sin happening in down the world. So whatever you may think, today, if we really think about where we are going in our lives today, we are going into indulgence, we are going into laziness, we are going into complacency, we are going into purposelessness, and we don't even know where we are going. Today, if I had a person who was 47 years of age, he was so low in his life. He said, I have everything in my life. And I'm still remembering his face. He was looking down and he was talking with me. He says, I have a 13-year-old daughter and I have a 6-year-old son, but I have no time for them. So, where are we going with this money, money, money? We are doing some work, but the reason why we are doing it is all wrong. We get more money, we earn more money, we spend more money, and we have nothing left with us.
Are you there?
I don't know. Have we
I
lost each
can hear
other?
you.
You can
No,
hear me.
no, just yeah, yeah,
Am I?
yeah. Just continue. Yeah.
Oh my God! I can't see myself, so I thought like I'm not on this. I'm not in the air at
No,
all.
no, 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 no. Continue,
Okay.
continue,
Okay.
please.
So what I'm trying to say is that with this kind of lifestyle that we're leading today, getting more money, earning more money, working hard, more money, and no time left for our own selves, no time left for human connections, no time left for our families. And where are we going with this? The newness comes in life when you have something to be happy about. What are we even happy about? We're not even happy about the work that we are doing. So the work that we are doing is with the intention of getting more money. And this, my friends, is becoming into a great negativity, and it is becoming into what is known as a habit, that we work but only for money. If we start working a little bit for happiness, and I always say that happiness is a habit, it's a decision we take every moment, and it can be created and it can be cultivated. So why I'm talking about newness in this way is that if we continue the way we are continuing, then where is going to be the newness? It is all going to become into drudgery, and and we don't even like what we are doing. Most of us are always complaining about we don't like what we are doing, and that is where we are going into the depth. And I remember Oscar Wilde when he said that we are all in a gutter. Some are looking at the stars, but some are not. So the only way to rise from this way of suffering, the way we are in the lifestyle that we have, what are we looking at? Are we looking at the stars, or are we looking at something else? Over to you, David.
Fantastic. As you mentioned earlier, the body regenerates daily, often carrying with us the old
Yeah.
emotions and the mental patterns that we have way, way back. Why is this inner change hard for many? And how can we go about doing all of this change that we want? Where do we begin with it?
Absolutely. Such a beautiful question, David. Each one of us is here for a reason. It's just that some of us have found the reason, some of us have not found the reason. We don't know why we are here. And if we get up in the morning, if it getting up is a drain on us, if it's a drudgery, and we don't know why we are getting up in the morning, that means we are leading a life without any purpose. If we have something at the back of our mind, what am I going to do today? I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that. It's just that what is changing is the mindset. We are doing the same work, over and above again and again, again and again. But what she's changing is inside our head is the mindset, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I remember the little girl coming to my clinic. She must have been 8 or 9 years of age. And when I asked her, what do you want to become? She immediately bounced at and she said, I want to become a doctor. And I asked her, why do you want to become a doctor? She said, because in my village, I don't have a hospital. And in my village, I want to help the people of my village so that they don't have to rush to the city for a good hospital. And I've seen my grandmother suffering and I've seen my relatives suffering, and I want to have a hospital for that reason. When you have this kind of a purpose in your mind, definitely you're going to be a happier person. Today we are doing everything only for one thing, and the indulgence and the entertainment quotient is going higher and higher and higher, and because of that the happiness quotient is going lower and lower and lower.
Lower and
So
lower
where
and
do
lower.
yes, so where we start with this about asking yourself one very important question. If you close your eyes, I can tell you, ask yourself that one very important question: what do I really really want from my life? Am I going in
Hmm.
the right direction? And this question is so beautiful. The second question is, why do I want this? Okay, you want money? Fine, but why do you want the money? It is enough that you have looked after your family, you looked after your parents, you looked after, you made a house. This guy who came today, he said the same thing to me, that I've got addicted to earning money. I cannot leave it. And that's what I'm trying to say. That what are we living here for? What is it that I really, really want? That is where we have to start. What kind of version that I want to become? What is a better version? If this question is not going to come into your mind, you're not going to change. If you're just doing like a reflex action, now this, now this, now this, now this, now that, I've reached my college, now I got to go and have babies, I got to get married, I got to do this, I got to do that. Then if the reflection part is missing, then we cannot go ahead in our life, and this is the problem that we're going to have. Over to you, David.
And many do not understand. They think that process plant of life is life. In actual fact, it's not. I call it the mind as the battlefield. You know, when you change your thoughts, the mind as a battlefield. If I can just quote one little extract from the Gita: for one who has conquered the mind is a best friend. But
Absolutely.
one who has not conquered the mind and has failed to do so, the mind remains its greatest enemy.
Absolutely. This is so
Now,
true, David. Yeah.
yeah, please continue. Please continue.
So your mind is like a restless monkey. It's taking
Hmm.
you, sitting in the office, you're thinking about home. You're thinking, sitting at home, you're thinking about office. So it's always taking you somewhere other than where you have to be. The presence of
Yes.
the place in which you are, it's you're not there. And training the mind to be present is a training which we do in the morning every single day. It's about training the mind to be present in what you're doing. And that's exactly what the Gita is telling all the time. If you focus on what you're doing, if you focus on the person in front of you, if you focus on the situation and the work that you're doing, the work is going to be excellent. We are not talking about perfection, we are talking about excellent. So, what the Gita says is control your mind. And how do we control our mind? Is by using our breath. The breath is a thread which we catch hold of, and we help, and that helps us to control our mind. And the mind can become your servant. I'll tell you how. If I have a gulab jamun sitting inside my refrigerator, and if my mind is going there, Alka, that gulab jamun is there, when are you going to eat it? That ice cream is there, when are you going to eat it? And then if I don't eat it for, let us say, for 3 4 days, that means I'm controlling my mind. I'm making a promise to myself, and I'm becoming a stronger person. But the first thought that comes to me, and if I go and eat the gulab jamun, then I'm becoming a weaker person. So you can become the master of your mind by not eating the gulab jamun, and you can become the servant of your mind by eating the gulab jamun, because the mind is going to take you to becoming a weaker person. It's like a Satan. It will make you become weak and weak. So that means it's a best friend if you become the master, but if it's an enemy if you become the servant. Simple as that.
Yes.
Over to you.
How true, how true. And for the newcomers that have just arrived, we are talking on a spiritual crossroad that's happened just subsequent to Easter, the birth of Ram, and at the same time, I'll be bringing in the Islam faith, Prophet Muhammad's thoughts in how we utilize this for our inner well being. And in so doing, streamline our progress forward by controlling our mind. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just ask Alka another question that leads us from where I am. Let me think. What is the next one I can ask her? Okay, the connections of thought and identity, Alka. When we look at that, how are we utilizing practical tools? And has the Gita offered certain practical tools that we can utilize for this practice?
Absolutely. David, you mentioned about conquering your mind. Today, I had a
Hmm.
husband and wife, and the husband goes for treks and he goes to the bigger tiles, Kanchenjunga. Then he wants to go to the Everest, and he started from going to little heights. Okay. The wife tells me, what is the use of going for these heights, conquering all these heights if you can't even conquer your anger? That was, I got reminded of that when you said conquer your mind. So the wife is your absolute barometer of who you are and what you are not. So she didn't say anything more than this. She kept quiet and she said, okay, now I'm going out. You can talk to my husband, whatever he wants to talk. And I didn't ask him a single question, but I realized one thing. You can be a marathon player, you can be a great person. He's very good in his work, what he is doing. But if he's not getting rid of his anger, today, I find the youngsters today, the anger sitting right on their nose, the drop of a hat, they get upset. Why is that? That's what the Gita is telling. Control your mind, conquer your mind. Conquer your mind means nothing but just take the decisions of your mind not seriously. Don't listen to your mind. Your mind is telling, come on, go and eat that. Come on, let's go for a movie. Come on, let's go for dinner. Come on, let's go. No, 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 no. No going to that place. You do what you're supposed to be doing, what is right for you. And this has to come from your intellect. The mind has to be controlled by yourself, and the decision making comes from the intellect. You have to make our intellect very strong. What we say, the willpower, that comes again with practice and practice and practice, and that is what we are doing every day, single day in the morning. Some people say you're doing the same thing again and again, but that is life, and that is the brain getting used to it and becoming neuroplastic and repeating the same thing again and again and again. And that's how you become a stronger person. That's how your intellect becomes strong, and that's how everything becomes into a habit. And that is the wisdom of the Gita. Action with purpose and repetition of action again and again and again. Over to you.
Wow, wow. It's amazing. Many do not understand that patience. If I can only take them back to their primary school days. Remember when primary school and you were learning this multiplication table? I love this. I'm going to ask you a question. 2 multiplied by 2, what is that, Alka?
Whoa!
Right. Now, see, if I took you back to your kindergarten days, and
Yeah,
guess what happens? When I ask you that question, you would be scratching your head, scratching your bum, scratching everywhere, trying to figure it out. But somebody gave you a caning and
yeah,
repeatedly got you to repeat that, repeat that, repeat that, repeat that, which is
yeah,
what now allows you to auto respond it. The
absolutely,
same thing happens with everything else in the mind. And this is
absolutely.
exactly what we're telling people, and they do not understand the philosophy of practice. In some cases, you have to do it 1,000 times for that repetition to be auto responded. Now, when you do that, you're controlling your mind. If you
Yes,
notice, you've got a grandchild who's 1.5, 2 years old, and
yeah,
you just now mentioned, he turns around and he goes and says, no, 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 I'm not going to go down that path. And what does grandma do? Grandma also follows it now. No, 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 I'm not going to. So this is what the path is. You got to control it. And we
yes,
have this thing called gatekeeper in here. If you can understand how to hold the mind and perform this activity, steering it, because you're the captain of your ship. If you steer it right, you're going to be there, master of your destiny. But many do not have the discipline for that. That's the
yes,
unfortunate thing. So we
absolutely.
do that in the morning, every morning at Fire to Wire. And we do that every morning, both in India and South Africa, at that time zones for the Brahma time. And what we are encouraging people to do is please take care of yourself, take care of
Yes,
your mental health, take care of your mental resilience. To do that, and we're using the crossroads of all three religions that we are currently exposing ourselves to, which is the Christian faith, the Islam faith, and also the faith of Hinduism. And they
Yes,
all have the same underlying foundation called LOVE. That's
absolutely.
the bottom line. But people can't see it. Let me take you to the next step, a next question I had, which is extremely important for you to now answer in relation to questions and actions. Alka, you watch your thoughts without becoming overwhelmed with it. I just walked through that exercise of practice, 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 and you did that. What is
Yes.
the thing that we need to do? And the Gita says this very, very succinctly: the
Yeah.
path of right action without attachment to results. Can you elaborate on that, please?
See, David, the point is that whatever we are doing, we are not putting our 100% into it. You always talk about immersion. What is immersion? Immersion is when a child goes to play. I remember as a child when I went back, when I went to play, I never came back home until 9 p.m. My mother used to hit me to bring me back home. That is called complete immersion when you're immersed in pure some activity. Children do
Hmm.
that. Children are immersed in their playing. But as we grow older, we want to do 10 things at the same time. And that is not the way to get excellence. Only if we focus, and if you find yourself early in the morning, if you get up early in the morning and if you're doing something, you will find that you have complete immersion because you have less of distractions. That is why they say the Brahma Muhurat is the best time. At 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock time is the best time because the birds are chirping, the nature is quiet, and there is complete quietness in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, in your brain, and you can get complete immersion. The Gita says that do whatever you have to do with your heart and with your soul. When you put your 100% into it or 200% into it, as David says all the time, automatically you will get good results. Now, the thing is, because we don't do that, we don't get the results, and then we blame X, Y, Z, my wife, my husband, my child, my blah, blah, blah. We keep blaming because the presence is not there. The Gita is telling just be present. Be present in front of the person that you are. Be present in the work that you're doing. And how does this come? How does the focus come? The focus comes with meditation, with breath work. And that's what we are showing early in the morning. But when I ask somebody, let's say anybody, any patient who comes, and anybody for that matter, and I tell them that can you sit in silence for 5 to 10 minutes every day? Let us forget 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And they don't believe in it. And because of that, they say, I have no time. And then I tell them, write down, journal your time. Journal your time throughout the day. What are you doing? When you put an alarm for 6 o'clock, do you get up at 6 o'clock or you get up at 6:05 or 6:10 or 6:15? You're not even sleeping, you're not even awake. You're not even doing any productive activity. That half an hour or 15, 20 minutes in the morning, you're just tossing from bed to bed, from side to side, and not doing any activity. The second thing I tell them is how much time do you take to eat your food? You must be taking more than half an hour or 40 minutes. It does not take so long to eat your food. Just focus on what you're doing. When you're eating food, don't look at your mobile phone. Don't look at your anything, any book. Read a book when you have to read a book. Look at the phone. Make it a time when you have to look at the phone. What I'm trying to say is that when you have to do some activities, some modalities, which we always talk about in our morning sessions, a meditation is just a reflective time. It's a time given to you to connect with yourself, to reflect on your life. If you don't have time for that, then what else can I tell you? So if you write down your time throughout the day, you will see how much of your time you're wasting on television. Sometimes there may be a good program, but most of the times you're only changing the channels and looking for what program to see. So I'm very happy to tell everybody here today. There was something happened when I went abroad and my Tata Sky got disconnected. I never called them back again to put a TV in my house. I read the news on Google News, but I don't have TV in my house. So I don't know what is happening on the news sector. So news you can watch in 5 minutes. You don't have to waste the newspaper or the TV time to watch the news. So you can create the time if you really want to do something to upgrade yourself, to become the best version of yourself. If it is up, David's famous quote is, if it is to be, it is up to me. So how you create your time is up to you. Thank you so much.
How true, how true. In the Gita, Krishna speaks a lot about
Yeah.
aligned action or dharma action. Now,
Yes.
what does that look like in modern life? Let's relate that back to modern life. Relating it to modern life, Alka, why don't you share? You were talking to me about it the other day, the story of that guy called Amit and Coke.
So
Can you share that, please?
he's a very old patient of mine, and he gets his sugar under control. So if you tell him something that you have to do this, and this, he will do it. For, let us say, for 1 year, his sugars are under control. He will do everything, whatever he wants to do. But suddenly, something goes wrong in his brain. I don't know what happens. He goes abroad. He just lets himself loose, and he forgets his main prioritizing his health, because his kidney functions are already quite bad. And he was telling me when he came back this time that, doctor, I cannot eat my food without having a Coca Cola. I said, "What are you talking about? You're a diabetic. You can't eat, you can't drink a Coca Cola." He says, "Yeah, dog, last 6, 8 months, I've been doing that." And when I looked at his sugars, they were sky high. But it's not the sugars which is the only problem. Everything in our life, in our body, is interconnected. So when your sugar goes high, your lipids go high, it causes dysfunction in your kidneys. His weight has gone higher, but because of the sugars have gone very high, the weight is coming down. But the point I'm trying to make is, when we don't discipline ourselves, which you always talk about, discipline, 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 habit formation, when you just let yourself loose, then you are in deep trouble. And now I showed him his kidney function tests were much worse than what they were 6, 8 months back. And then he came and he said, "Doctor, now I'm going to stop having my coke. I'm going to do this. I'm no alcohol, no smoking, no this, no that." But it's too late. All the damage has been done. We can reverse it to a certain level. And then he asked me one question, David, am I going to die? I said, not today. The thing is, you want to indulge yourself, you want to entertain yourself, you have the money, you want to have this, you want to have that, but then where are we going from here? So we are getting too
Exactly.
much attached to the money that we are earning, too much attached to the things that we are going to, the name and the fame that we are having. And because of that attachment to the outcome of our work, we're not even enjoying what we are doing, and we are getting into bad health. So I told him that, what is the use of earning so much of money? Today again he came. Today he was telling me, "Doctor, I want to have a party. I want to call you for a party." I said, "For what?" He says, "I got so many contracts." I didn't say anything to him because his sugars were very low today, 100 and something. But then I didn't say anything. But I want to tell him that if you're going to be there, only you'll be enjoying all these contracts. If you're not going to be there, what's the sense of that? So I'm just talking about this example because he's a very good friend of mine and he's my patient. And I'm just giving this because everybody will understand the importance of discipline and habit formation. It doesn't matter if you have blood pressure, if it doesn't matter if you have diabetes. What is the purpose? Are you prioritizing your health? Nelson Mandela said, it's very late in life that you realize that your health is declining. And when your health is declining, nothing seems good for you. Your mental health declines, your physical health declines, you don't feel like doing anything, and you are very low in your life. So take care of your health, friends, and that is what the Gita is telling. Take care of yourself. Do something to move yourself, move your body. Even exercise, people feel so lazy. Okay, at least walk. No, just go a little for a walk around the garden near your house. Even that you don't want to do. You want to sit in the AC throughout the day in front of the screen. How is that going to help you? Over to you.
How true. How true. How true. For the newcomers that have just come on screen, we are covering the spiritual crossroads subsequent to Easter and Lord Rama's birth and Ramadan last month. We are now looking at how the three are interconnected into our day to day living, impacting our thoughts, our actions, and how this divine connection can actually surge us forward if we are in sync and in flow with the energy forces, right? Now,
Yeah.
3 weeks from now, I'll be addressing the concept of energy forces and the concept of Ramadan, the impact of that with a person, another person, I should say, from Cape Town, Dr. Mariam. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to that too. Let me just continue here with Dr. Alka. One key thing that I want to address also, Alka, is when we are in this state of transferring from where we are, trying to work with the activities, what is the right thing to do, what do you feel are the norms that a person can basically start off with on a day to day routine to shift this action for their betterment?
So one thing that I've seen works very good is that you want to become something. you want to have something, first and foremost, have the clarity in your head. What do you want? What is that version of yourself you want to become? Like, somebody tells me that I want to be like so and so. I want to be like Mahatma Gandhi, let us say, example. Now, if you want to be like Mahatma Gandhi, are you going to be following the norms what Mahatma Gandhi was following? If you want to be like XYZ or the best version of yourself, what does that person look like? Is he a calm person? Everybody wants to be a calm person. An angry person, whenever you talk to that person, a lazy person, when you talk to that person, he says, frankly speaking, in the Gita and the Purans, it's written, a lazy person does not like himself. So every human being has a capability, a potential, but we are not going up to that potential. We are not working up to our capability, and it is for us to recognize that we can work up to that capability. And it is important to know ourselves, because the Maslow's pyramid says, when you have fulfilled all your needs of food and house and those the most important things in life, it's time to know yourself. It's time for self realization when you're going towards the tip of the pyramid. The same thing the Gita is saying. The Gita is saying that work towards what you want in your life, but later on you have to do self reflection and find out who you really are and who you really want to be. Now, if I want to become a certain person, like most of the angry people are telling me always, Doctor, I don't like to be angry. I like to become a very, very calm person. One of the example is in my clinic is one person is there in my clinic who is never gets affected, who is unagitated, who is unruffled by any damn thing on this earth. So I said, yeah, even I want to become very calm. So what are the things you need to become calm? First thing is to stop complaining. To start appreciating. First thing is to, when something negative is coming out of your mouth, tell yourself, no, I'm not going to tell this negative thing. I'm not going to complain. The third thing is stop fault finding. Fault finding is a drainage on your energy, it's a drainage on your body, mind, and spirit. And fault finding is not about fault finding the other person. You find faults in the other person which are significantly seen in your own self. When you look at the beauty in other people, that is the beauty you have in your own self. I remember one Iranian girl. She's married to my cousins. And when I met her, I told her that your eyes are so beautiful. And she told me that even your eyes are so beautiful because you can see my beautiful eyes. But point I'm trying to make is, if we start looking at the beauty in people, if we start looking at the beauty in the human beings, in the people, in the situations, in our environment, I tell you, things will change. First is about thinking in the right way, appreciation, and being humble. Are you humble enough to recognize other people? Are you humble enough to give compliments to other people? Do you even realize that somebody is looking very nice? So, can I say something nice to this person? Or do you feel, no, 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 I'm not going to say this nice thing to this person. Why should I say that? No, you say it. When you say the nice thing to that person, you automatically feel good. It is nice to be nice. This is my status for 20 years now, maybe 30 years. So just be nice to somebody. And if you don't look at the faults, if you stop complaining, if you get into that habit of not being negative, see, 9 out of 10 times you can try, practice, 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 and then you achieve something. 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10 times you may not be negative. But if you can conquer negativity, like David says, NENN, no excuses, no negativity, that is the first step, David. That's what we are doing in the morning at in Fire to Wire every single day. We have a challenge for NENN. How many days can you go without complaining and without finding excuses? That's the first step. And then you go on to the action, what you have to do. Over to you, David.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. A lot of the practices and principles that Alka is talking about is harbored in our community called Mental Resilience Mastery. The public out there, the community is called Mental Resilience Mastery. The doors are open to you. If you're wanting to look at it, please DM the community members and they will introduce you to some of these ideas. This is a philanthropic organization, so there is no charge for the first few weeks of your entry into it. And I would sincerely suggest, for your betterment, follow the advice of what Alka is talking about and apply to your life a concept that I call very frequently with a lot of my senior CEOs that I coach and counsel. Can I? CANI. Continuous and never ending improvement. That is your cornerstone for sustained longevity. Ladies and gentlemen, not the paracetamol. This is your paracetamol for life. CANI, continuous and never ending improvement. Moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, connect with the divine from isolation to alignment, Alka. How do you surrender to the divine and let go of your ego control?
My
Thank you.
God, my God, this is the topic which I always say, yeah, because this is something, I'll give an example. I always tell the story that there's a seed, and you plant the seed in the soil in your garden. You give it sunlight, you give it love and affection, you give it watering, you do everything possible for that seed to sprout. Somehow, this seed is not sprouting. What is happening is there's a very thick shell around the seed. The seed will sprout only if this thick shell of ego bursts open. If the seed decides it doesn't want to sprout, no matter how much love and affection you give, no matter how much sunlight you give, no matter how much water you give, this seed is not going to sprout because it cannot break the shell around it. So, point I'm trying to make is that this ego is the cause of all evil today. Whether it is husband and wife, whether it is father and son, whether it is friendship, whether it's in the professional speaking area, whether it's professionals, where the boss and the leader and the manager and the manager and the little manager and the people who are working under the manager, wherever it may be, if we are using our ego, and that's where the whole problem comes. The question I always say is that, are you looking within? Are you Life is not an outer journey, life is an inner journey. Whatever landscapes that you want to create in the outer world comes from the creating the same landscape in the inner world. So my question to everyone here is, if you really want to be happy, whatever your purpose of life is, whatever you want to achieve, what is the intention behind that? If it's a good intention, and if you have a passion of being happy and spreading happiness, then there will not come a time where the ego will not be broken. People are there to throw stones at us, and life is not a very safe place. Life is not a very, what do you call, this fellow used to always tell, it's not very fair. Life is not fair. Okay, fine, accepted, but we have to learn to let go. Let go. The wife is telling the husband, oh my God, he can't get over his anger. Do you know what he did 30 years back? So if you keep on holding on to the 30-year back things, nothing is going to change. Unless and until we have that habit of letting go, unless and until we have the habit of forgiving people. And sometimes, if you really think about it, any situation in your life is not created by one person. Situations are created by two people. If you try to understand, did I provoke the other person to say something rude to me? Did I provoke the other person to be disrespectful to me? Then you will understand that I have co created that situation. And when we say, oh, I have forgiven that person, that's not what we are saying. It could be that you have to forgive yourself also. Sometimes we create a lot of complications in our life, David. We are not truthful to our own selves. We create a big face outside. Yeah, I'm very good, I'm very this, I'm very that. No, you're not. Be truthful to your own self, and that's what we do in the morning. It's a life is about going within yourself. It's about understanding yourself first. Only when you understand yourself, only when you accept yourself, can you understand the world around you. Can you understand the accept the world around you, and start loving yourself, and then only you can love the other people around you. This is what I have to say for your question, David, and over to you.
How true. How true, how true. That concept or the idea of surrender, I would sincerely suggest, in the bottom of my heart, for people to spend 5 minutes straight after this session, if you're listening to this here now, to just sit in silence and look at areas where you're empowering and disempowering sectors of your life. How is it impacting you? What is it that you need to surrender? Who is it that you're going to surrender to? And if you are looking at it from your partner, if you're looking at it from your creator, if you're looking at it from divine intervention, I would sincerely suggest let go. The day you start to let go, the day you start to release control and allow to go inside, utilizing your breathing techniques, your 4 beat breathing techniques. 4 inhale, hold for 4, 4 exhale, hold for 4. And when you start doing that consistently, you see that surrender concept working in with you. I will then touch on another concept straight after a couple of questions with Alka. Just one moment. And Alka, to you, the question I have now is very simple. When you surrender to the divine, let go of this ego through the process we just covered, what happens to that person? How does he see the outside world now when that surrender happens? What is
Yes.
it that is there ready for him? How does he see it and how does he work with it?
David, I'm reminded of my dad when my mom passed away. I was staying with my dad and I told him that I don't want to leave you alone. I want to stay with you. And he said, no, 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 you go back to your home. You have a family. Take care of your family. And he told me one very beautiful sentence. He said, I'm not alone. I'm with God. God is always with me. So the presence of God. What do we mean when we say look within? What do we mean that when we say life is an inner journey? It's about connecting with that person who's inside of you. Who is inside of you is divine person. The divinity is inside each and every human being, and the Gita calls it Atman. Atma or the consciousness. So we are connecting ourselves with another human being. When we do namaste, when we are bowing down to the divinity, my divinity in me is bowing down to the divinity in you. And that is what brings humility to a human being. Now, when we're talking about divinity, divinity is not only in me, and the yoga says yoga is a part of Gita, and they say yoga is nothing but connecting my divinity with the universal divinity. So we have, unless and until we align ourselves with the universal divinity, we are nothing. My mom used to say, a leaf which falls from a tree cannot do anything by itself. Only because it has divinity, it is connected to the divine, the leaf can move. And I used to laugh at her. I said, what, Mama, what you're talking? But that's the truth of life. The truth of life is there are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. And if you really understand this, life is going to be much more beautiful. Cherish your life and connect with the divinity in yourself, with the other human beings. Then, when you understand that God is sitting between me and my husband, between me and my child, you cannot hurt anybody. You cannot use wrong words. You cannot use satire. You cannot use sarcasm. You will not blurt out anything from your mouth. You will always wait and watch your words, your thoughts, your mind, and you will always do the best. And that is what David means by surrender. You do your best, do your work, focus on your work, be fully immersed in your work. Don't bother about the outcome. Outcome is going to come nice. If we do it 100% focusing on the person and the work that I'm doing, the outcome is going to be good. It's going to be excellent. And because we are holding divinity with us and we're connecting with the divine soul upstairs. So, yoga is nothing but your divine soul with the universal divine soul. And then once we align, we are going to have the best of results. Over to you.
The power is when you connect that way,
Yeah.
your flow of energy is going through. And if you remember the shell that you spoke about for the inner self, to crack through that shell, that power comes from within. That's why I keep saying to everyone that I talk to, you are God because God is within you. And when it is there, it can break past any shell. And that is what we need to spend time in silence, ensuring we can reinforce that, create
Yes.
that steel to break through. But many
Absolutely.
are not aware that they have that potential within themselves. Why? Because whether it's so poor self image, whether their upbringing, whatever the reason, the
Yeah.
power to change that, in my view, and I've been working in this industry for over 3 decades, the power
Absolutely.
to change that is in your hands. And what do I mean by that? Hang out with the right people.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
power of association is the name of the game. You
Yes.
hang out with butterflies, you become a butterfly. You hang
Yes.
out with flies, you become a fly. You can select. Companies do the selection at interviews. Why don't
Yes.
you select the friends that you're circling with and then understand where you're going in life? Most of us don't do that. We're going and asking our friend, our buddy, who is on the same level, same peer level as us, and we are saying, hello, tell me which should I go and do this or that? It's just like you having a heart problem and you're going out to the man in the street and say, hey, listen, mate, cut open my heart and give me a heart triple bypass, please. That's what people are doing. They don't understand. You hang out with the right people, you get the right circle, you get the right community, and you put all of this inside of you and it crack through that shell. That's the
Absolutely.
power that we have.
David, I'm reminded of a time when one day I had gone on a Women's Day program and I'm addressing some women. And I
Hmm.
asked them, how many of you like to be served a hot cup of tea? Guess how many
Yeah.
hands went up? How many hands went up? All the hands went up. These were all 30 to 40-year-old entrepreneurs, working ladies. All the hands went up. Then I asked a second question. How many of you liked to be served a hot cup of tea? Do you know how many hands went up? Zero. Zero. Why has this change happened? Why? We are mothers, we are ladies, we are women, we are humans. Why can't we do something for somebody? Today, the divorces which are happening in this world, today this advocate had come, she was telling me, they're happening for the silliest of the reasons. I'm not going to make tea for him. I'm not going to be the cooking in the house. I'm not going to teach the children. Why should I do this? Why should I do that? Array, but you are doing something for the community, for the humanity, for your family, for your husband. How wrong can that be? If I always give an example, anybody comes to me and they're crying about all these things, I tell them, you know, my husband, he also makes a cup of tea for me sometimes, not always, sometimes. So is it wrong if he makes a cup of tea?
Manoj, I hope you're hearing.
So when he has to get some work done for me, he makes a cup of tea for me. But he makes
Yeah.
he makes a cup of tea. Point I'm trying to make is how much of service oriented mindset are we having? Can we do one little small thing for somebody else? Otherwise, we are not going to be happy. David, the Gita says when you're doing some action, it has to be contributory, it has to be with a serving attitude, it has to be with gratitude. And if we are not doing that, then we are nowhere. We are going to be unhappy, we are going to be sad and upset, angry, frustrated. So, doing the work with the right attitude, with the happiness in mind that I am doing the best that I can, rest of it is left to God. And I tell you, David, that when I serve my senior citizens, I started going to them just to teach them yoga. But I got so much of love and affection from them, and I got so much of respect from them, and I gave them the respect, and that brings me to the meaning in my life. When I spend time with these children and the seniors, when I put them together in one group, the seniors tell stories to the youngsters read stories to the elders. Both of them feel useful. And when you feel useful, this applies to anybody on this earth. When you feel that you're being used by the community, by the society, you become a happier person. Today, if David is doing so much of work, creating a community around him, he feels very happy. He's very selfish. Huh? He gets a lot of happiness out of what he is doing. And that is what is the purpose of your life. Over to you, David.
Exactly. Thank you. So true. Thank you. Thank you. You see, when you have a very defined purpose, I call it a DMP in life. And by the
Yes.
way, we talk so much about purpose. For those out there who are wanting to figure out what this purpose is all about, we run this session once every 3 months. It's a 6 week intense session to help you get to understand what your northern star is, what your purpose in life is, what your GPS is, so you can actually go in the right direction and not get foiled. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of that, I would sincerely suggest connect with one of the members or send us an email, get into our website, mentalresiliencemastery.com, drop us a note, and you will then understand why we are pushing this fact for people to actually spend more time with themselves and understand their life. Moving forward, Alka, one other question I have before I head to the bottom of the scale. When you talk about strengthening our inner connection with the divine, how can I, as an individual, begin? I know nothing. I'm a newborn kid in this fraternity. How can I understand what I need to do with divine connection? Where do I start? What do I need to do? Simple.
Just start with sitting with yourself, without a phone, without a book, without a screen, without music, without anybody. Just sit for 1 minute every day, make it into 2 to 3 minutes every day. till the time you actually start enjoying your company. The thing is, we always say that so and so is not sitting with me, so and so doesn't want to talk to me, so and so is this, so and so is that. But are you able to enjoy your own company? Can you sit with your own self? Can you enjoy the company of the divine intervention who is there within you? Do you enjoy the company of that person sitting inside of you? So when you sit alone without any of these accessories and these gadgets, that's a time you realize how boring a person you are. It is not, it is not about the other person finds you boring. You have to become interesting. You have to make your thoughts interesting to connect with your own self. Don't think about I've got that work and I've got that work and I'm that good. You will have those thoughts in the beginning, but as you sit in silence every single day, all of those thoughts becoming lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser. Just look at your breath. I'm not even giving you any exercise. I'm just saying quietly sit, close your eyes, look at the breath going in, look going out. This is for the beginners. Just look at the breath slowly and slowly and slowly over 10 days, 15 days, if you do it consistently. If you're not committed, if you're not disciplined, then nothing is going to happen. But if you do this consistently, without getting bored, you will start enjoying your own company. And when you start enjoying your own company, that means you've connected to your Atman, you've connected to the person sitting inside of you. And then let me tell you, friends, you don't need any company. You don't need anybody on this earth. Then you can concentrate on your work, you can focus on your work, and that's what I'm trying to say. The Gita says just sit in silence. And today we have scientific evidence which shows how the structure of your brain is changing with every time you're sitting and doing your work quietly. And your brain is changing, your synapses are changing, your neuronal connections are changing. And when you become happier person, the dose chemicals are increasing, the serotonin is increasing, we are living in an oxytocin less world because we are going to everybody with an agenda. I want to tell everybody, have an agenda less life. Meet people with love in your heart. Meet and talk to people with love in your heart. Don't have an agenda. People can sense that. When you have an agenda, people can sense that, and no oxytocin is going to be created between the two people. When you meet people with love in your heart, they can sense that, and then they connect with you. Then the oxytocin is being produced. All I'm saying is cherish your life, cherish the people in your life, relish your food. People are not eating food today. Why? I've got diabetes, I want to lose weight. Arey, but you enjoy the food. Na? Don't eat too much of chocolate. Don't eat too much of ice cream, too much of cold drinks. But have what you're having with a lot of love and affection. Don't think like, oh my God, this is going to put, I'll put on weight. You will not put on weight if you think the right thing when you're eating the food. You don't even look at your food. You don't even savor your food. All you're doing is thinking about the weight I'm going to put on, number one. And number two, you're reading a book or you're looking at the phone while eating your food. That's not going to help you. So, my only thing to everybody is that sit in silence, connect with yourself, relish your own company, and then see that how boring or not boring or how entertaining a person you become. Over to you, David.
That will be enriched tenfold. Guys, ladies and gentlemen out there, that concept will be enriched tenfold. Write this word down when you understand what a sanctuary is. And you now need to create your own sanctuary. And it can come in two ways: one, an external sanctuary, a place such as a temple, a mosque, a church, or an external sanctuary. In my case, I have that plus a veranda that's filled with greenery and a front veranda that's got my visiting magpies that come, and I've got a mirror there, and this magpie sits on the mirror and he pecks on the mirror doing his affirmations. Guys, a magpie is doing an affirmation. And then he goes down and he picks his food and he looks at me, says thank you, and he flies away.
Yeah.
I get many will be wondering, this guy's gone bananas. Yeah, people with bananas in their head actually make good money without even knowing that. What are you all guys up to? So understand, having that sanctuary as an external sanctuary, in addition to that, have an internal sanctuary. What is an internal sanctuary? It's a place within yourself
Yes.
where you learn to crack that nut that Alka was speaking about. And that internal sanctuary is getting into states of meditation, getting into states of mindfulness, getting into states of self reflection, getting into states of flow, getting into wind down states, getting into wind up states. Guys, when you do all of this together, and it doesn't take much time, if you can think 60,000 thoughts a day, this is priceless minutes that you spend to enrich yourself such that you can crack that shell. So
David,
please think about
yeah.
it. Yeah,
My
please
mom,
continue.
she used to always say, "Why are you so much in a hurry?" Whenever I went to her house, I was leaving in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. She's, "Why are you so much in a hurry? Why don't you go slowly? Why don't you talk slowly? Why don't you walk slowly? Why don't you look at people and say hello?" People used to complain to her, "Your daughter doesn't say hello to us." So she said, "No, this is very bad. You look at the people into their eyes and say hello to them. Smell the flowers on the way. Listen to the breeze, listen to the water." She always told me this. And one day when I fell down and I broke my ankle because I was running and running and running, I realized the wisdom in the words of my mother. And that's the truth of life. What David is talking about, that magpie, to have the capability to enjoy the magpie, to enjoy that insect which is sitting in his on his mirror. He can enjoy the company of that magpie. That is what I'm talking about, agenda less transaction. We don't have to meet everybody with something in our head that I want this, I want that. Just enjoying the flowers in your garden, just enjoying the breeze in your garden. That's what David is talking about. And that's what I mean to say, that have some habits which give you a buzz moment, which give you happiness. And that is what David is also talking about. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And for newcomers, as we're close towards the end of this, we are doing a spiritual crossload past Easter, and we have got just past Lord Ram's birthday,
Hmm.
past Ramadan, and I thought it'd be best if I can pull all of the three spiritual communities together to understand how we as individuals can enrich our life. Next week, we will be looking at a similar session on number one, the loss of a stillborn baby and how a new life was created from that for that mom,
Yeah.
the regeneration of a person after being through havoc in relationship with their husband. And I will also be looking at Prophet Muhammad's philosophies, similar to what we have done in the Gita here today. But before I close, I want to just come back to one particular area that I think is vital for me to pull and hook it in for you to understand. The greatest transformation, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't happen around us, it happens within us. If you
Yes.
notice what we were talking about all through today, it was to get that transformation
Yes.
awareness for you to realize within you. Lord Krishna reminds Arjuna that the real battle is not in the field, but it's in the mind and the heart.
We
And
are
Lord
all like
Rama,
Arjuna. Yeah, we are all like
yes,
Arjuna. Arjuna was the
exactly,
person fighting the battle on the Kurukshetra, but we all
yes.
have a Arjuna inside of us, and we are fighting the battle within us. And all of us are same as far as that is concerned. Unless and until we go within ourselves, we cannot solve that battle. We cannot get out of that battle. And the only way to do it is by going within, as we are already been talking about. Be flexible, friends. Don't be rigid. Be like water. Be moving. The Gita says, keep moving, keep doing action. And that is what the be nourishing, be giving, just like water does. Everything will become very easy for you when you do these things. Over to you.
And Lord Rama, through his life, reminds us that when we walk in Dharma, no
Yes.
darkness can overcome us for long. We will
Yes.
break through that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you change your thoughts, you take aligned action, you connect with your divine, and you see how your life will change. When you use some of the modalities that we talk, you hang around butterflies and see how MRM can help you. Alka, imparting this session, one crystal word for the audience out there, please.
Be flexible and let go.
So true. So true. This is how resurrection happens to everyone. Learn to be flexible, learn to surrender, and let go, and see how the light wins you to your newness in beginning your life. Ladies and gentlemen, I bid you farewell. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alka.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, David. for having me here.
My pleasure. It's our pleasure. Great. Thank you. We'll connect again tomorrow morning at 5 to
Yeah,
1.
yeah, we are going to be there tomorrow
Thank
morning.
you.
Every single day we are meeting.
Take care again. Bye bye.
50 seconds now. I think 1 or 2 seconds more. Be
That's
honest to
okay.
yourself. Be humble. There's so many things that come out of just being honest. Yeah, really.
How true. Joy, simplicity, and
Yeah.
happiness is the ultimate of self
Humility.
realization.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Thank you. We take care
yeah.
now. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll go.